Shri Vishakhanatamsh Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatri Shutarine Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurakrishna He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishnavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, we welcome everyone for today's morning Shrimad Bhagavatam class. We are reading from Canto 3rd, Chapter 1st, text number 35 and 36. So we see in this series of verses, as described in the previous classes also, that Vidura is asking questions about the welfare, and in this particular verse, till next 6 verses, total 6 verses, he is asking the welfare of all the Pandavas, and then Kunti Maharani and others, that are all they faring well. So in this particular verse, we see that he is inquiring about Hridika, Charudeshna, Gada, and son of Satyabhama, who accept Lord Shri Krishna as the soul of the self. And then in the next verse, he inquires about Yudhishthira Maharaj, that whether Yudhishthira Maharaj is maintaining the kingdom according to religious principles and with respect for path of religion. So like that he is inquiring in this verse about the rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So it is very interesting to understand that after the battle of Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna enthroned Yudhishthira Maharaj as the king of the whole world. So if we see, there were almost 64 million people who were killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. And after the battle of Kurukshetra, Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he became the king, he ruled the earth for almost just 36 years. So someone may ask that if he had to rule only for 36 years, why to kill so many people, 64 million people, But it is explained that because it was a dharma yudh, it was a war which was required under the direction of the Lord to kill all the miscreant people. So therefore, even a movement of dharma established is far greater than thousands of years of adharma. So Lord Krishna make sure that although Yudhishthira Maharaj just ruled for 36 years, but those 36 years were perfect opportunity for all the citizens of the whole world to go back home, back to Godhead. So therefore, when Yudhishthira Maharaj was ruling the kingdom, he had complete cooperation of all his brothers and all the other people. So that is another interesting thing to see here, that although there were many states under Yudhishthira Maharaj, but all of them, they cooperated well with the king, that is King Yudhishthira. So even in current scenario, people all over the world, they want that everyone should be under one flag, they should live peacefully, they should come together, they should not harm anyone. But Srila Prabhupada explains that that is only possible when they accept the authority of the infallible Lord. And just like we see in ISKCON society, although devotees are coming from different parts of the world, but because everyone is following the authority of the Supreme Lord, therefore everyone is able to come together. And on the other hand, we see there are some organizations in which the maximum percentage of people are from one place only, maybe some particular state or country, but still there are so many divisions in those organizations because they don't want to follow the supremacy of one Lord. So in this particular verse and the purport, the main theme which is spoken is the perfect rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj. That how when Yudhishthira Maharaj was king, he ruled the citizens perfectly. So we see in Shrimad Bhagavatam, there are many stories which discusses about ideal kings. Just like we have Yudhishthira Maharaj, then we have Prithu Maharaj, and almost all the great devotees like Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, all of Bharat Maharaj, all of them became king of the whole world, after becoming devotee. So that is important thing, that it is very important that the leader of the society has to be a devotee, or if a devotee becomes the leader of the society, then it is ideal situation for all the citizens to practice God consciousness or Krishna consciousness. And specifically in Bhagavatam, there are so many examples to teach us that how, as a leader, what should be our responsibility. How we should conduct our own self and how we should rule the citizen in the mood of being a servant. So specifically here we see that the perfect rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj is described, and if we see in the first canto, 10th chapter, there is a description of how when Lord Krishna is going towards Dwarka. So before that there is a description about the rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So there are some couple of verses which describes the characteristics of how Yudhishthira Maharaj ruled his kingdom. So I would just like to recite some of those verses and we will discuss some of the points based on that. Very interesting point Srila Prabhupada writes in the purports to those verses. So first verse says, Suta Goswami said, Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased after re-establishing Maharaj Yudhishthira in his own kingdom and after restoring the Kuru dynasty, which had been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger. So here it is stated that Lord Shri Krishna, he became very pleased when he established Maharaj Yudhishthira as the ruler of the kingdom. So that is, interesting thing. So one of the opulence, so just like we know that Lord has 6 opulences, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge. And one of the opulence of the Lord is renunciation. So sometimes people ask that how we can see that Lord exhibited this quality of renunciation. We never saw Lord Krishna as, taking to the renounced order of life or something. So but we see this quality of renunciation is shown by Lord, that after, just like we see in this example, after the battle of Kurukshetra, he established Yudhishthira Maharaj as a king. So he himself could have become the king, but he is happy to seeing his devotee becoming the king. Similarly, we see in the example of Prahlad Maharaj, when he killed Hiranyakashipu, he enthroned Prahlad Maharaj as the king of the whole world. Similarly, Dhruv Maharaj. So we see that although he is the Supreme Lord, he can do whatever he likes, but he is happy to see his devotee being glorified. So when Lord Krishna came as, when he personally came to this earth, so he killed many demons, very powerful demons. So while he was on this planet Earth, he killed many powerful demons personally, but he made his devotee to kill many people who were very famous. So if we see demons, like just like before coming to Krishna consciousness, so some of us, at least I did not heard about so much about many of the demons which we see in Krishna Leela, just like Aghasur, Arishtasur, Trinavat. After reading Krishna book Bhagavatam only we came to know about these demons. But these demons were very powerful. And there were other people, just like on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there were these Kauravas and others. They were very famous. So he made his devotee to kill all these famous people, because if his devotee would have, because his devotee killed all these famous people, so his devotee became more famous. But those who were powerful demons, them he killed personally. So this is the quality of renunciation of Lord Krishna. So here it is told that after the battle of Kurukshetra, he established Maharaj Yudhishthira as the king of the whole world. So there in the next verse it explains, Maharaj Yudhishthira, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhishma Dev and Lord Shri Krishna, the infallible, engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge, because all his misgivings were eradicated. Thus he ruled over the earth and seas and was followed by his younger brothers. So then it is explained that how Maharaj Yudhishthira, we all know the story which has come in the first canto, that after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthira was very much, feeling that this war has happened because of me, and because of because I wanted to be the king, so therefore so many people are killed, and he became little depressed, and so much so that many great personalities came to console him, but he was somehow or other not consoled. And on the top of that, Lord Shri Krishna personally gave him counseling, but he was not consoled. So actually Lord wanted to show the greatness of his devotee Bhishma Dev. So then Krishna took Yudhishthira Maharaj to Bhishma Dev, and there on the bed of arrows, Bhishma Dev, although he was lying on the bed of the arrows, but in his last stages also he gave very nice instructions to Yudhishthira Maharaj about how to rule the world. So then when he received those instructions from Bhishma Dev, after that he became enlightened. Although he was enlightened before only, but he became inspired to rule the earth, and then he started ruling. So that is explained in this verse. So, and then also it is also explained there that he had his full cooperation from his younger brothers, who were perfectly religious. And while he was ruling this planet Earth, so his rule is compared to the kingdom of Indra, that is, who is the head of the demigods. So that was the opulence of his kingdom, that his kingdom was compared to that of Maharaj Indra. So there Srila Prabhupada explains very interesting point. He says that before Yudhishthira Maharaj started ruling the world, he was educated and trained by Bhishma Dev. So there Srila Prabhupada tells that he was not like a typical unenlightened political leader of modern democracy. Just like in the modern democracy, there are many leaders who just become the leader of the society without getting any proper training on how to rule the kingdom and how to take care of the citizens, how to be God conscious oneself, and to make the citizens God conscious. So that is very important, that before taking any leadership position, a leader has to have sufficient austerity and pray to the Lord, and sufficient training and education. Because without proper training and education, if one comes in a leadership position, then it creates damage for himself and for the citizens also. So therefore it's very important that all the leaders in any state of life must regularly undergo proper training and education based on the scriptures to understand how to rule the citizens perfectly. So then it is explained that because Maharaj Yudhishthira, during his kingdom, all the citizens, all the people were in perfect cooperation with him. So how it is possible? Generally we see in this world that anyone who becomes leader, no matter how much great he is, there are some people who always like to rebel. So how it is possible that Maharaj Yudhishthira ruled in such a way that all the people were fully cooperating with him? So very interestingly, Srila Prabhupada explains that it was only possible because Yudhishthira Maharaj was not ruling or he was not doing anything based on his own ideologies. What he was doing was completely based on the authority of Lord Sri Krishna and based on the scriptures. So because he was perfectly following the scriptures, so therefore all the people were in complete harmony with him. And in this world we see, if we try to follow our own ideology, our own speculations, then there will always be some people who will rebel against our ideology. So that is natural. But if we follow the authority of scriptures, what is given by Lord Sri Krishna in the scriptures and other Vedic literatures, then we can have this understanding of how Maharaj Yudhishthira had complete cooperation. So that is an important thing which is explained. And then Srila Prabhupada explains that how in a government, although we say that government, the government is good or government is bad, but the main thing is that a government it appears to be an impersonal thing, but actually government is run by a person. So the leader of the government, whoever is the leader of the government, if he is good, then the government will be good. If he is not good, then naturally the governance will not be good. So therefore, the executive head of the society must be a trained person, like Maharaj Yudhishthira. So then in the next verse it explains, during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, the clouds showered all the water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of men in profusion. Due to its fatty milk bag and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing ground with milk. So here it is explained that when Maharaj Yudhishthira was ruling, the clouds were giving sufficient water. And we see nowadays sometimes it happens that there are unexpected rains at any time. You are sitting inside the home, there are no rains. As soon as you go out for going to office, colleges or schools, immediately the rain starts. And as soon as you reach your destination, the rain stops. So completely different. So we see that during Maharaj Yudhishthira times, the clouds were showering sufficient water, and the earth also produced all the necessities of men in profusion. So it is explained that planet Earth, it does not keep anything for itself. Whatever you put in planet Earth, it will naturally give it out. It has the principle of giving. Therefore, there are so many minerals and resources in the planet Earth which it gives for the welfare of the society. And also, if we put anything harmful to the planet Earth, some plastics or chemicals, naturally that also it will give it out and that will create harmful effect for us. So it is explained that during his time, the earth produced all the necessities of men in profusion. And then it is explained that due to its fatty milk bag and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing ground with milk. So this is an important principle that the cows at that time were giving so much milk that it was moistening the grazing ground. Means nowadays there is not sufficient milk to drink also, but at that time there was so much milk that used to moisten the ground also. So here the important words which is used is cheerful attitude. So sometimes we say that the cows, we are drinking cow milk, we are taking care of the cows. So because in the modern society there is so much demand of the milk, so therefore there are many people who are very much inspired to as a business to take care of the cows, and they use many chemicals and many unwanted ways to milk the cows. But here it is explained that when the cows are cheerful, then they naturally will give lot of milk. And how the cows will be cheerful? So it is not that we have to just keep the cows in one place or just restrict them to one place. We have to allow them in their natural course to graze the ground, and also there are many aspects how we can make the cows very cheerful. So when they are naturally cheerful, like in the times of Lord Shri Krishna, when he used to graze the cows, at that time the cows were very cheerful because they were very cheerful in seeing in taking darshan of the Lord, hearing the flute of Lord. So naturally, when the cows are cheerful, they naturally give lot of milk. And then it is explained by Srila Prabhupada that how the basic principle of economic development is centered on land and cows. How, one may say, why it is said that the basic principle of economic development is centered on land and cows. In the modern society, we see that the basic principle of economic development is stock exchange. The better the GDP of the country, the better the stock, the more we see people say that now we are economically developed. But Srila Prabhupada explains very interestingly, he says, because the necessities of human society are food, fruits, milk, minerals, clothing, wood and etc. And these all necessities can only be taken from land or cows. We cannot produce these things in factories or in the companies, but these are only gained through land and cows. So therefore, if we have proper cultivation of the land and we are properly taking care of the cows, then our real economic development can happen. And then Srila Prabhupada explains that grains and vegetables can sumptuously feed a man and animals, and a fatty cow delivers enough milk to supply a man sumptuously with vigor and vitality. So these two things, that is, the land produces all the vegetables and cow gives lot of milk, and these two things are sufficient for making any person healthy. Even we see in case right now many people are turning towards Ayurveda or the naturopathy, and if we see very carefully, many of the medicines which we use in Ayurveda or this naturopathy are derived either from land and mostly from cow products, either cow milk, cow dung or cow milk or cow ghee. So we can see practically that how cow products are actually helping to make people more healthier. So, and then Srila Prabhupada tells a very interesting point. He says, if there is enough milk, enough grains, enough fruit, enough cotton, enough silk and enough jewels, then why do the people need cinemas, house of prostitution, slaughterhouses, etc.? What is the need of an artificial luxurious life of cinema, cars, radio, flesh and hotels? Has this civilization produced anything but quarreling individually and nationally? So here Prabhupada is saying that if there is enough quantity of all these natural resources, then people will be so much satisfied that they naturally will not look towards all these things, cinema, houses of prostitution, slaughterhouses. And then Srila Prabhupada explains that we can see in modern society, although we say that we are trying to enjoy life by all these things, cinemas and Prabhupada explains radio, flesh and hotels, but what is the result? We see that result is people are becoming more quarrelsome, both individually and nationally. And then he explains that has this civilization enhanced the cause of equality and fraternity by sending thousands of men into a hellish factory and the war fields at the whims of a particular man? So Prabhupada is explaining, although Prabhupada is writing these purports almost it's 50 years ago, but we can see very practically this is happening now also, that thousands of people are forcefully sent to war fields, to fight and lay down their lives just because of the whims of some particular people. So therefore it is explained that it is very important to take proper care of cows. We have to properly take care of the cows because they are most important in the society. Proper care for the cows and proper cultivation for the land. So, and you can see the example of Maharaj Parikshit also, that while he was touring his kingdom, he saw at a particular place that a black man was attempting to kill a cow, and therefore at that time he started chastising that person. So then Srila Prabhupada explained what is the duty of a king. He explains that should not a king or executive head protect the lives of poor animals who are unable to defend themselves? Is this humanity? Are not the animals of a country citizens also? Then why are they allowed to be butchered in organized slaughterhouses? Are these signs of equality, fraternity and non-violence? So then Srila Prabhupada says that the duty of king is not only to protect the citizens, the duty of the king is also to protect the citizens like animals. The animals are also citizens of society. They are not different from society. So it is the duty of executive head to protect, not only protect the citizens, but also to protect all these animals and not allow these animals to go to slaughterhouses. Because although we say that we should be equal to everyone, so therefore we should be equal to animals also. We should give them proper rights to live and survive. And this all was happening during the rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So very interestingly, Srila Prabhupada says that the Mother Nature has enough foodstuffs for all the animals, all the men, for everyone. But how it will happen that when Mother Nature will give all these things to us, when she will see that we are in proper alignment with the principles of religion. So then she will be very happily able to give all these things. But if we ourselves are not following the principles of religion, then Mother Nature will not give these things. And then the next verse says, the rivers, oceans, hills, mountains, forests, creepers and active drugs in every season paid their tax quota to the king in profusion. So here it is said that the rivers, ocean, mountains, they paid their tax. We don't see rivers and coming to income tax department and paying their tax. But what is the meaning of paying tax? It means that they provided sufficiently all the necessities which are required. So in that purpose, Srila Prabhupada writes a very interesting and very deep statement. He says that the secret to success is to take refuge under the protection of the Supreme Lord. Without His sanction, nothing can be possible. To make economic development by our own endeavors on the strength of tools and machinery is not all. The sanction of the Supreme Lord must be there. Otherwise, despite all instrumental arrangements, everything will be unsuccessful. So therefore, it is important that when the king is idle, so then naturally all the respective things, just like it is mentioned there, the rivers, the mountains, the forest, they all pay proper tax, in form of giving all the resources. So therefore, the people also should be educated. So when the king is a Krishna conscious or God conscious king, so then he naturally takes care that all his citizens are properly educated in scriptures. And when the citizens are properly educated in the code or conduct of the dharma or religion, then naturally there will be least quarrel among citizens, and they will be naturally live very happily. And then next verse explains, because of the kings having no enemy, the living beings were not at any time disturbed by mental agonies, diseases or excessive heat or cold. So there it is explained next level, what was the quality of Maharaj Yudhishthira kingdoms. It says that during his kingdom, the citizens were not affected by the threefold miseries. Just like we know there are threefold miseries: Adi Devi, Adi Bhautik and Adi Adhyatmik. That is miseries due to one's own body, mind, miseries due to other living entities, and misery due to the natural disasters. So because the king was having no enemy, because he was naturally a devotee of the Lord, a devotee of the Lord does not have any enemy. So therefore, because he was ideal king, so therefore the citizens were not having any mental agonies. So this is an important check. How to see that whether the leader of the society is ideal or not. If the citizens are happy and without any mental agonies, that means the leader is ruling perfectly. And if the citizens are full of anxiety, fear, depression, tension, that means the leader is not ruling perfectly. So therefore Srila Prabhupada says to be non-violent to human beings and to be a killer or enemy of the poor animal is Satan's philosophy. Satan's. Shaitan. And what is the key to make citizens happy? Just like we discussed that the test of an ideal leader is that the citizens or the subordinates are without any mental anxieties. And how this will happen? This can only happen when the leader himself is happy in his own state of Krishna consciousness or in his own state of religion. So therefore Srila Prabhupada writes, unless one is pious and recognized by the Lord, he cannot make others happy who are under his care. So therefore the leader first himself has to be pious and recognized by the Lord and be himself established in the core principles of religion, and by that when he himself is happy, then he can naturally make people who are under his care very happy. So therefore these 4 verses, although just 4 verses, but these 4 verses very perfectly describes how during the time of Maharaj Yudhishthira everything was so ideal because he himself was a devotee of the Lord. So as it is explained as in this verse, it is asked by Vidura that is Maharaj Yudhishthira ruling the kingdom according to the religious principle and with respect for the path of religion. And this is a very deep thing because then he says that because Maharaj Yudhishthira was protected by 2 arms. And what were his 2 arms? First arm was Krishna and second arm was Arjuna. And why it was possible? Because it is said in this verse, Nij Atma Devam, because they accepted Shri Krishna as their own self. Nij Atma Devam, because they accepted the orders of Krishna as their life and soul. So when we accept the instructions of spiritual master and Lord Krishna as one's life and soul, then we can perfect our life and remember Krishna and be happily stated in our own Krishna consciousness and also under those who are under our care. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shrimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanandi.